6 inches of snow fell in the northern United States during the summer of 1816. On July 4, people spent their time escaping the flames inside churches. Meanwhile, food costs in Europe rose, and riots swept through the streets like wildfire. Markets and bakeries burned to the ground as people searched the countryside for any scrap of food. While in Asia, the monsoon went haywire, which led to a cholera outbreak that killed thousands of people. Even though these strange occurrences seem to have nothing to do with one another, what if one incident combined them all? The greatest known volcanic eruption occurred on Indonesia's Mount Tambora a year earlier. Up to 50 cubic kilometers of ash and gas were thrown into the atmosphere, darkening 1 million square kilometers of sky and obstructing the sun. This resulted in the disruption of atmospheric circulation patterns, which in 1816 produced what is now known as the Year Without Summer by scientists. The fact that scientists believe a similar apocalyptic disaster could happen again in the not-too-distant future is perhaps the most terrifying. On the border between China and North Korea, a mysterious and terrifying behemoth is sleeping. Although it's quiet now, the Mount Baekdu or Mount Baekdu volcano erupted 1,000 years ago with a ferocity that rivaled the biggest eruptions in recorded human history, throwing crackling rocks and ash as far as Japan. Mount Baekdu, or Changbai as it is known in Chinese, is still primarily a mystery despite that tremendous outburst. Few people outside the area even know it exists, and no one is certain as to whether or when the 2,740-meter, 9,000-foot, peak may erupt once more. An international team of scientists is currently attempting to look beneath Mount Baekdu with the aid of a variety of seismometers and access to North Korea that is nearly unheard of. Important hints on the likelihood of upcoming eruptions are encoded in those moving strata of the Earth. Does it have magma down there? Is there any melt that could cause an eruption? All of the stuff that drives volcanic eruptions lives in the subsurface, explains Kale Acavino of the U.S. Geological Survey, co-author of a paper that analyzes Mount Baekdu's subsurface anatomy and appears today in Science Advances. Mount Baekdu is not situated where tectonic plates come together, in contrast to the majority of volcanoes on Earth. The huge subduction zone that produced the Japanese islands is at least 620 miles, 1,000 kilometers, away from where it is currently parked in the center of a plate. To put it simply, Mount Baekdu shouldn't be there. One of the major puzzles, according to Iacovino, is that Mount Baekdu is a holy mountain for North Koreans. It serves as their national emblem, and it is thought to be the location of the first Korean kingdom's founder's birth. On its flanks are a few small settlements, and in the summer, blueberries cover the ground. Hot springs and gas vents may be found higher up, while Heaven Lake, a swimming hole, is located in the mountain's summit crater. A well-liked tourism and hiking destination is a national park on the Chinese side of the mountain. Iacovino, who performed work on the mountain in August 2013, describes it as a gorgeous place. Between the years of 2002 and 2005, scientists who have been keeping an eye on this dormant monster recorded around 3,000 earthquakes. However, since 2006, seismic activity has significantly dropped, which is a crucial warning that a volcanic eruption is about to happen. A Russian satellite also observed a notable rise in surface temperature around the mountain, and in 2006, the concentration of hydrogen and helium releases increased tenfold. According to Boston National University's Yan Sung-ho, a professor of earth science education, Mount Baekdu is currently comparable to the calm before a storm. According to research conducted by the National Institute of Environmental Research of Korea, Mount Baekdu might have an impact on the world that is just as catastrophic as the Mount Tambora eruption. Temperatures in East Asia might drop by 2 degrees for 2 months due to volcanic ash and gas obscuring the sun. Volcanic ashfalls can have profound secondary effects on the economy and way of life, as was seen in 1816, in addition to leaving a permanent mark on our skin. The North Korean government, which is typically secretive and has been dormant ever since, was sufficiently alarmed by that seismic swarm to begin communicating with its neighbors and the West. James Hammond, a seismologist who was asked to investigate the sleeping beast, was also intrigued by it enough. It is a volcano with a dramatic past, showed some recent activity, and we do not know much about it, said Hammond of the University of London. Hammond and a group of scientists were ultimately given permission to enter North Korea and picture the volcano's subsurface, working with local colleagues, after years of talks and bureaucratic wrangling. When they got there in 2013, they set up 6 solar-powered seismometers along a line that was about 60 kilometers, 37 miles long. These seismometers captured the trembling and shaking caused by earthquakes that occurred all over the world over 2 years, causing seismic waves to bounce around the Earth's interior and cause the planet to ring like a bell. The speed at which these waves go through the Earth varies depending on the kind of rock they are passing through. These minor changes in speed can be used by researchers to distinguish between waves traveling through solid rock and those traveling through more melted and gooey materials when they gather data from a seismic array. After that, they put all of the data together to create a composite image of the layers directly beneath their feet. According to Hammond, we're imaging where that's stored beneath the volcano. We're looking at where the stuff that could erupt from the surface is. According to seismologist George Zant of the University of Arizona, the data that Hammond and his team have gathered are reliable. Furthermore, the findings are instructive despite not being particularly surprising. A layer of partially melted rock, a mushy concoction of liquid, gas, and rock crystals, lies beneath Mount Baekdu. The assumption that the volcano is highly active is sort of confirmed by it, according to Iacovino. How much of it, though, is eruptible? That is a major question. There are still questions regarding the amount of magma present and the size of the partially melted reservoir, and Hammond says he would like to return and conduct more in-depth imaging. Although it is far too early to predict whether Mount Baekdu will erupt again, the partially melted magma indicates that the source of the eruptions may still be active. And according to geologists, a catastrophe could result from an explosion comparable to the volcano's eruption in 946 AD. Iacovino asserts that it can certainly affect things like international trade routes and commercial airline traffic, at least. Keeping a careful check on the volcano and continuing to look beneath it are necessary to comprehend the likelihood of future eruptions. According to seismologist Stephen Grand of the University of Texas at Austin, I think the risk of a destructive eruption here is very real. The subsurface structure can aid in future prediction, though not with any certainty. It would be necessary to monitor any future changes to the current situation. The global community must work together immediately to plan for every scenario, according to scientists. They advise that an evacuation strategy must be created and that an ongoing close monitoring system is necessary. It serves as a reminder to everyone that studying volcanoes is an important field of study that holds the secret to safeguarding our planet in the face of the unpredictable fury and destructive power of this gigantic beast. As Michelle Wu says, during natural disasters or emergencies, the most resilient communities, places that suffer the fewest casualties and rebuild more quickly are not the wealthiest neighborhoods or ones that have spent the most on physical infrastructure, but rather the communities with the strongest social infrastructure. You can suggest topics you want to see next in the comment section below. Please subscribe to Weather Collapse if you want to know more and be updated on the latest news about natural calamities or disasters happening all over the world, and don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.